Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody who's joining our program tonight. I'm waiting for the YouTube to catch up with our program here to make sure we have adequate coverage here in the chat. I want to make sure we're actually broadcasting to people here in the chat. I'm just waiting to see people here, and also for people to give me a 5x5 to let us know that we've got good video and good audio going out. Juanito's here. Welcome, Juanito. It's good to see you. Juanito's from El Centro, California. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Kramer Wells is here. Sheila Dixon is here. Good afternoon. Sleeping Volcano from Denver is here. Welcome. It's good to see you. Just waiting for some more people to get in here. I don't want to be repeating everything going on. Demon Catman from the east of England is here. Dennis N is here. Welcome. It's good to see you. I'm just waiting for a few more people to get in here. Like I said, I just don't want to repeat. Richard Smith from Nova Scotia is here. Welcome. It's good to see you, my friend. Annette Louise Walker's here. Thank you so much, Annette. God bless you. Sheila Dean is here. Welcome. It's good to see you all. Okay, guys, we've got some people here now. I'm going to start talking about what we're doing here tonight. Primarily, we want to talk about what is going on in the Pacific Northwest. Earthquakes are continuing to happen in the Pacific Northwest. We've seen them. We've had it reported to us that the earthquakes are happening, and yes, they are. I just want to make sure everybody is aware of it. That's why we're here tonight. Do I think something's happening? Yes, I do. I also want to tell you that I am very concerned about Southern California. Nicole Motor from Nice, California is here. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. Heidi Petrick is here. We appreciate you, Heidi. Heidi's one of our friends and family from way back when. Literally. Heidi Petrick's been with us forever, and I appreciate that so much. We appreciate all of our members of our EMA family here, our subscribers, everybody. We've got 5,100 plus subscribers that I'm very grateful for. That means our channel is growing. I'm not in it for me, okay? If it was just to get subscribers, I could have cared less. But my subscribers here means our channel is growing and our message is going out among the masses. I want this message to get out, because the more people that hear this message, the more lives that we're going to save in the long run. Like I said, tonight, I want to talk about the Pacific Northwest, specifically Mount St. Helens and the Cascade Subduction Zone. I want to start off tonight talking about Mount St. Helens first. I'm going to talk about Mount Rainier and Mount Hood as well. But first, Mount St. Helens. This may concern all of you here. Okay? With what you see here, this may concern you because some of you live in the Mount St. Helens area. Mount St. Helens, guys, right here. Okay? I want to make sure you understand. This is East Dome Mount St. Helens. This seismograph sits up on top of the platform, or what I want to call the lava rock that was left over after the last eruption at Mount St. Helens. It's the plug that holds the magma down inside the volcano. Okay, the plug that holds the magma down inside the volcano. Look at all these earthquakes here. USGS will not identify any of these earthquakes here. They are talking about just minor microquakes and minor tremors. If you go and look at the USGS map, all they are talking about are minor tremors and earthquakes. That's it. Actually, not even earthquakes. Minor tremors and microquakes. That's all they're showing on the USGS map. But look at what is going on. Okay, I want to show this to you. This is a tremor. All this is tremor activity here. This is a 2.0 earthquake here. This is probably a 2.2, 2.3 earthquake here. Minor earthquakes. This is a tremor. Both of these events here are tremors. This is a tremor here. This is a microquake. Okay? This appears to be a 2.3 earthquake. 2.3 minor earthquake. But look out here to the right. This is the secondary wave. This is the primary wave, and this is a secondary wave. The secondary wave is showing us tremors here. These are just tremors. These tremors go out 45 seconds. So I'm willing to say that this is no more than a 2.2, 2.3 minor earthquake. This is a tremor, this is a tremor. This is a tremor here. This is a 2.0, 2.2 earthquake. Minor earthquake. This is a tremor. Now, I want to talk about this here. Okay? Notice the time element. This is a black line. This is 11 a.m. in the morning right here. We come over here. This is approximately 11:08 a.m. this morning. Look at this earthquake. Okay? Yes, this is an earthquake. This is at least a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake here at Mount St. Helens. They are not showing this on the USGS map. They're not showing this on the USGS map. I want to show you one other one here before we leave this particular seismogram. This is also a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake accompanied by a 2.5 earthquake afterwards. This is probably an aftershock of this 2.8, 2.9 earthquake here. Okay? This is a tremor. These are all tremors. These are possibly microquakes here. Yes, they are talking about microquakes and minor tremors. Let's go over to the USGS map. I want to show you this. Okay? I want to show you this. This is important to understand. This is Mount St. Helens. They're showing this tremor here. This is actually a microquake, a 0.5 microquake. This is a supposedly a 0.0 quake. However, this is not a quake. Okay? This is a quarter of a mile down inside the volcano. This 0.0 they refer to as a surface quake. It's not. It's a quarter of a mile deep. It's a quarter of a mile deep. This is probably a microquake as well. Just south of Mount St. Helens here. This is a 0.2 microquake here. Okay? Notice they have no earthquakes here at all. They have no 2.2 or 2.3 earthquakes here at all. They don't have a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake here at all. They're not talking about it. They don't want to admit what's actually going on at Mount St. Helens. Let's go back here to the seismogram. Again, we show you what's happening. This isn't the seismogram I was showing you. Let me pull up my notes here. Okay, I want to now go over to September lobe. September lobe is a seismogram on Mount St. Helens. Or a seismograph. A seismograph is a machine. A seismogram is what you're looking at right here. This is a seismogram. The seismograph SEP refers to September lobe. This is the identifying channel on on the seismograph. BDF-CCO1. BDF-CCO1 is a channel for this particular seismograph. September lobe is a spindly-legged seismograph also sitting up on top of the volcano. It sits on steel legs. Now, frequently, because Mount St. Helens is active and Mount St. Helens keeps getting hit with tremors and earthquakes, the September lobe seismograph sometimes gets kicked over. Sometimes it's not available because it gets kicked over by earthquakes. But look what we're seeing here. I want to show you this. Up at the top of this seismogram, it says 1700. 1700 is 5 p.m. yesterday. 5 p.m. yesterday. 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m. Right here after 9:15, the magma here starts getting active. What you're seeing here are VLF waves, very low frequency waves. These waves occur as a result of magma under pressure coming into the volcano. Magma under pressure coming into Mount St. Helens. This is very much active. This is actually very dangerous magma coming into the magma chamber. It's magma under pressure. A lot of magma under pressure. This is less magma, but it's still under pressure here. This is even lesser magma here. Note where this is at. This is 21:30 hour or 21:15 hours. 9:15 last night. From 9:15 last night until 11 a.m. this morning, the magma was very active at Mount St. Helens. Okay, this is why we've had the earthquakes we have had here at Mount St. Helens. You also need to be aware that they are not showing all of the earthquakes. They are not showing all of the earthquakes that are happening at Mount St. Helens. They can't possibly. Otherwise, the seismograph would be working all over the place. I believe the seismograph is working, but they are omitting data. They are omitting and erasing data. I believe Mount St. Helens is very active, and even this shows it's very active, and I believe it's getting ready to erupt. Mount St. Helens is getting ready to erupt here. Okay? Please understand what we're showing you here. Next, I'm going to go and show you a seismogram that is over on the north side of Mount St. Helens. This is Studebaker Ridge. Studebaker Ridge. When I first started broadcasting 5.5 years ago, Studebaker Ridge was completely covered. The seismogram was completely covered, top to bottom and side to side. There was so much going on. So many earthquakes and tremors hitting, it was completely covered. There was hardly any white on the paper. Now these are digital. These are all digital seismograms now. There is no paper involved. But they make it look like it's paper. This is all digital. But look here. Okay? This is at just after midnight this morning. Midnight last night, 12 a.m. this morning. Look at this earthquake here. This is at least a 2.9 earthquake, possibly a 3.0 small earthquake here. This is a minor earthquake here, a 2.0 minor earthquake there. This is at 11:31 a.m. this morning. This is a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake here. This is at 10:23 p.m. last night. This is a 2.8 earthquake here. We have other tremors all over this seismogram. Again, this is on the north side of Mount St. Helens. Now I want to show you another one. Please stand by here with me. Magma is on the move here. USGS is not showing us everything that they should be showing us. Magma is on the move. This is Sugar Bowl at Mount St. Helens. This earthquake here is not being shown on the other seismograms. This appears to be a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake with tremors right before that. Yes, tremors lead up to the earthquake. Now, each one of these lines are indicative of 15 minutes of time. 1700 hours, 5 p.m. yesterday. Each line is 15 minutes in time. This happened after 8:15. This is about 8:20 p.m. last night. Okay? This is not being shown on any other seismogram. That's because USGS has scrubbed it off. They're not allowing it to be shown. Heaven forbid that they put it on the map, which they have not done as well. I showed you the map. There's hardly anything there. Only 3 microquakes. 3 microquakes. They're not showing anything here. Look at this. These are tremors and microquakes here. There are far more tremors and microquakes than USGS is even showing as well. Okay? Let me show you one more here before we end Mount St. Helens. Now this is a USGS seismogram. The United States Geological Survey also publishes seismograms from the different volcanoes and the different areas around the world. They refuse to show most seismograms though. Now I'm going to enlarge this so you can see it. Okay? Up here, this particular seismogram here starts off at 2200 hours, 10 p.m. last night. Each individual line here is also 15 minutes in value. 15 minutes in value. These thicker lines are showing a lot of magma coming into the volcano last night at Mount St. Helens. As you saw on the seismogram that I showed you from September low, there's plenty of magma coming into the volcano. There's a ton of lava coming into a ton of magma coming into Mount St. Helens. This is the VLF wave seismogram here. You can see it here. You're also seeing it not just on this seismogram here, but you're also seeing it right here. Put them side by side. 10 p.m., 10 p.m. here. These thicker lines are indicative of a lot of magma coming into the magma chamber. The thicker the lines, the more magma coming into the magma chamber here. Okay? More magma here. Look at this. This is at 11:30 last night. This dark blue line here. This is thicker line here. It gets thinner for a time and then it gets thicker again. This is called magma pulse signals. Magma pulse signals, P-U-L-S-E. The thicker the lines, the more magma. The lesser lines, the thinner lines, less magma. But you see a lot of magma here. Okay? Look at this. At 2 a.m. this morning, the United States Geological Survey turned off the seismogram. It's not recording anything until right here, 2:30 this morning. For a half hour, they didn't have a seismogram that was, or the seismograph that was recording anything. They turned it off. This blank area here is significant because it shows no seismograph recording anything that's available. However, we see this over here on the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. We have magma here at 2 a.m. plenty of magma. There's a ton of magma coming into the volcanic chamber here. They turn it off here at 2 a.m. There is nothing showing after that. Nothing showing at all on the USGS seismograph. We have to go down here to today. We have to go down here to this afternoon. Now I want to show you something. And again, this is very important. Right here. See this sideways rectangle? This is called a magma churn signal. Magma churn signals only happen when there's superheated magma. When there's superheated magma. The magma churn signals are typically 23 to 24 lines high. Let's check this one. There's 1, 2, 3. They turn the seismograph off just before 4 p.m. right here. 1600 hours is 4 p.m. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 here. 8 lines high. This is about 36% of real world. This seismogram is just 36% of real world, meaning the seismograph that was recording this information has been turned down and is only showing us 36% of what really happened. Meaning, these thicker lines, yes, this is a thick line, showing a lot of magma coming into this magma chamber today after 4 p.m. Let's go over to this other seismogram over here at Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. Right down here is 4 p.m. They're not showing us anything here. They basically turned off the seismogram, or turned off the seismograph down here after 1400 hours, 2 p.m. this afternoon. The USGS also has all this data here. This is a lot of data. This is very much a lot of data. This shows a lot of earthquakes happening. Earthquakes and tremors. Anytime you see a vertical line here, it's indicative of an earthquake. The magma is coming into the volcanic chamber and it's fracturing rock inside the volcano. Fracturing rock is indicative of earth movement. That's why we have these earthquakes and tremors. You see vertical lines here, these are earthquakes and or tremors. Vertical lines here, 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 all over this, all over here. You see vertical lines here, these are tremors and or earthquakes. That's because of all the magma coming into the magma chamber. But again, they've turned down the seismograph. These vertical lines may very well indeed be larger earthquakes. And again, this is Mount St. Helens. Okay? This is incredible. This has been going on for quite some time. The last time Mount St. Helens erupted was 1980. September 1980. Deborah Reese is asking, why are they hiding it? I've answered this time and time again, and I'm going to answer it again. The reason the USGS and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network is hiding information is because if the public really knew what was going on, if the public really knew what was going on, they'd leave. They don't want to be around Mount St. Helens again when it erupts. It erupted in September 1980. Right before the eruption, a week before the eruption, USGS had evacuated the area. Then all of a sudden things seemed to calm down. And USGS let people back in, and within a day and a half after that, Mount St. Helens erupted and killed 56 people. Mount St. Helens erupted and killed 56 people. And it's not just Mount St. Helens or Mount Rainier. It's all up and down the entire west coast of North America. It's also over all around the United States and Canada. Heaven forbid USGS would tell us what's going on. Who is telling USGS not to talk to us? Who is telling USGS not to let us know what's going on? The politicians. The politicians in Washington, D.C. and at the state levels. They are telling the agencies not to allow this information to get out. Not to allow the information to get out. Why? Folks, if people leave this area, let's talk about Mount St. Helens by itself. If people left that area all around Mount St. Helens, who would pay the taxes? Who would pay for the roads to be built or repaired? Who would pay for the stop signs and the stoplights and the street lights? If there's nobody here and nobody paying the bills, the politicians would be out of a job. The politicians are telling the agencies not to report the information because people would leave. People would leave. And if there's nobody here, there's nobody pay the taxes, nobody in City Hall to keep the lights turned on, nobody at the county levels to do anything, and the federal levels for the national park system, and there'd be no money, and the politicians would be out of work. That's why. This is exactly why. And I'm going to show you other seismograms as well tonight. And I'm going to show you these because there is a lot of information that everybody needs to be aware of. Okay? That is Mount St. Helens. Let's go over to Mount Rainier. Folks, this is Mount Rainier, Camp Sherman. This is this is a Pacific Northwest Seismic Network seismogram. Mount Rainier. Now, they did not show any earthquakes around Mount Rainier. They showed an earthquake, or a tremor, should I say, a tremor west of Mount Rainier. One tremor west of Mount Rainier. Look at this. Look at all the tremors all around or on or in Mount Rainier. This is an earthquake here, a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. This is a 2.0 earthquake here. 2.0 minor earthquake. This is a tremor. These are tremors. This is a tremor. This is a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake here, minor earthquake. Folks, this here is a vertical line without a dot in the middle. Vertical lines without a dot in the middle, and look at this curlicue. Vertical lines without a dot in the middle and or a curlicue are steam signals. Mount Rainier is steaming. I know for a fact that Mount St. Helens is steaming as well, but we did not see this here. I wanted to point it out so everybody knows what a steam signal looks like. It can be a straight vertical line with no dot in the middle. A dot would be an earthquake. A dot would be an earthquake. This particular line is a vertical line, and this one also has a curlicue on it. It's a steam signal. Steam being emitted from the magma inside the volcano. Okay? Now, these are all tremors here. This is a steam signal. This appears to be an earthquake here. It's got a dot in the middle of it here. This is an earthquake here. This appears to be a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake here. Now, it's probably larger than that. This here is indicating this is at 1300 hours. 1300 hours is 1 p.m. today. This blue line is indicative of being 1:30. This is 1:03 p.m. right here. I'm sorry, 1:33 p.m. right here. This is a 2.3, 2.4 earthquake right there. Right here, we have another magma churn signal here. This is a sideways rectangle. Now I'm going to enlarge this so you can see what we're talking about here. Magma churn signals, like I said before, are 23 to 24 lines high. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is 46% of real world. This seismogram is showing us 46% of real world. So if that's true, this is almost double what I said it was. I said it was a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. This is probably a 3.5 earthquake here at Mount Rainier. This is a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake there. This is at least a 3.5 earthquake there. This is 46% of the world. This is at least a 3.5 earthquake here. 3.5 earthquake. Let me reduce this again. Show you what's really going on. We have a 3.0, a 3.0. This is at least a 3.0, 3.5. Again, this is a 3.0, 3.5, and a 3.0, 3.5 here. Okay, it's just simple terms, simple mathematics. This is Camp Sherman. Let me show you another seismograph coming from Mount Rainier. That was Camp Sherman. Let's pull up Camp Muir. Again, every one of these seismograms, if they're not blue, are all Pacific Northwest Seismic Network seismograms. Okay, this is Camp Muir. Camp Sherman was on the north side of Mount Rainier. Camp Muir is on the south side of Mount Rainier. Folks, we have what appears to be at least a 3.0 or larger earthquake there. Okay? We have 2.0 minor earthquake. This is a 1.7, 1.8 tremor. This is a 1.5 tremor. All these tiny tremors here. This appears to be a 1.8, 1.9 tremor. All of these are tremors here. The only real big earthquake is right here. 3.0, 3.5 earthquake right there. This is at Camp Muir on the south side of Mount St. Helens. Or not Mount St. Helens, Mount Rainier. Okay? Let me show you another seismogram at Mount Rainier Gateway entrance. There are many entrances into Mount Rainier National Park. Rainier Gateway has a seismograph located at that ranger station. Look what we're seeing here. We're seeing a ton of tremors. These are all tremors. This here appears to be maybe a 2.3 minor earthquake. This appears to be a 2.0, 2.1 earthquake here. Again, a 2.0 earthquake here and over here. This appears to be a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake, both of these here. Both these here. This is at 4, it's on the black line, so this is 4:14 a.m. this morning. These are all tremors here. These are all tremors and microquakes happening here. The thinner the lines, they are microquakes. Okay, the thicker the lines, we see magma here. Thicker the lines, we see magma here. Mount Rainier is active. Mount Rainier is active. Rarely do I show Gateway, but I wanted to show this to you because it's very active today. This seismogram shows a lot of activity. Now I'm going to show you one other one. I'm going to show you Mount Rainier Gateway HHN channel. The HHN channel at any of the volcanoes is a VLF channel. It's going to show us magma coming into the magma chamber. This is exactly what we're seeing here at Mount Rainier. Look at this. This is a lot of magma. We just got through showing you that there's a lot of tremors and minor earthquakes happening at Mount Rainier late last night. The top of the seismograms here at Pacific Northwest Seismic Network are start here at 5 p.m. every day. We have less going on right here. Less tremors and or earthquakes. Down here, this responds exactly to what the other seismograph was showing us. We have a lot of earthquakes going on here. A lot of seismic information right here. Okay? A lot of magma coming into this magma chamber. Sun Gazer says they were like a tic-tac shape, but I think about an inch or two. Let's see. I think you're... Sun Gazer says she had a question about yesterday's graph, about the meaning of the rounded signal graph that are like oval-like. These are like oval-like here. Okay? This is showing magma coming into the magma chamber. This is magma coming into the magma chamber here. I shown you last night the East Coast and the New Madrid seismic zone. I showed you it's very active. This is exactly what's going on here. Okay? Does anybody have any questions about what's going on here at these volcanoes? Again, this is Mount Rainier. The first volcano I showed you is Mount St. Helens. I want to make sure everybody understands what's happening. Everybody that lives around these volcanoes deserves to know what's going on. The agencies don't want everybody to know what's happening. They don't report what these seismograms are showing. It's very evident. When they show nothing going on at a volcano and we have all this data available, there's something wrong. They're definitely not reporting stuff. They're definitely not reporting the data. The problem with that is, what happens when something blows up? What happens when there's an eruption and they have not said a word about it? Every volcano will show signs of eruption prior to the eruption. There is no way in hell that USGS should be allowing anything not to be said. If there is something going on, they ought to show it. They ought to be right there front and center saying, hey guys, look at what we're seeing. Hey guys, things have calmed down. Hey guys, things are ramping up. Things have been ramping up at Mount St. Helens and Mount Rainier for quite some time. There is no reason that they should not be telling you what's going on. There are some scientists that have left the agencies that are telling us that these volcanoes are going to erupt. There are scientists that have left the agencies that are talking about the Cascadia megathrust earthquake that is going to happen. And it's going to happen very soon. Okay? Now I'm going to talk about that just in a few minutes. Now I want to make sure you understand what's going on at these volcanoes. This is important. This is very, very important. Shelley Dean says, we love you, Ron. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. God bless you for that. Again, this is Mount Rainier. I believe I have one more seismogram to show you. Well, actually two. I have two more seismograms to show you here at Mount Rainier. Then I want to talk about Cascadia. Again, this is Mount Fremont. This is north and east of Mount Rainier. Mount Fremont. It's on the same elevation as Mount Rainier. Again, we are showing a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake right here. Look at the time element here. This is last night. 21:15 hours. It's on a red line, which means it's 21:15 hours, 9:15. Over here, this would put it at 9:20, actually at 9:20 p.m. right here. A 3.0 earthquake. Yes, we're seeing magma coming into the magma chamber. Right here we have some magma here. This is a thicker line. It's not as thick as we normally see. But again, the agencies are scrubbing data. I don't believe the agencies are truly reporting exactly what's going on, or these lines would be thicker. For this earthquake to have happened, the line should have been thicker than it's showing now. We have tremors before it and a tremor after it. But a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake right here. We have magma coming in here. These are magma pulse signals. Thinner lines get thicker and then get thinner again. They're called magma pulse signals. Okay? Down here, this is a magma pulse signal. This is a magma pulse signal. This is all a magma pulse signal here. And the thicker the line here, we get more tremors here. The magma is fracturing rock inside the volcano, causing these tremors. Okay? This is Mount Fremont. This is just north and east of Mount Rainier. Now, one more. There's a place called Tahoma Bridge. Tahoma Bridge at Mount Rainier. Again, this is a BHZ signal. This seismograph that is located here at Mount Rainier is a multi-channel seismograph. We have about 10 seismographs located around all of the volcanoes. This one is showing magma coming into the magma chamber at Mount Rainier. Look at this. Heavy-duty magma coming into the magma chamber after 5 p.m., between 5 p.m. and even out here to 2000 hours, which is 8 p.m. last night. Then it gets less. Then it gets more right here. This is at approximately 9:30 to 10 p.m. right here. Right here. 04 a.m. right here. Look at that. All this magma, heavy-duty magma presence coming into the volcano here. Literally all day long today. All day long today. This is midnight last night. This is all day today, just until, I want to say this is 13:30 hours right here. This is 1:30 this afternoon after I pulled this seismograph. Okay? That's a lot of magma coming into Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier is very active. Mount Rainier is steaming. 6 to 7% of all magma is water. When it boils off at 1,500 to 2,000, 2,500 degrees in the magma. When the magma releases the water, there is some way to release it. Now, let me go over to the other camera here. I want to show you what's going on. This is the plug at the top of the volcano. It's a lava plug. The lava plug is resulted from the last eruption at Mount Rainier or any of the volcanoes. The lava plug is there. There is magma coming up from underneath in the volcano that is pounding away at that plug. Pounding away every day, every hour, and every minute of the day. Pounding away at that plug. As a result of that magma beneath the plug, it's causing fissures to open up in that plug. Tiny holes opening up in that plug. As that magma is pounding away at that plug, it opens up tiny holes that is able to release the steam, release the water in the form of steam from the magma. Just like that. And what happens when there is hot steam releasing through these holes. A simple physics lesson. The holes get larger. The holes in that plug get larger. And at some point in time, that lava pounding at the plug, all of a sudden that plug is going to burst. It's already got these tiny holes that came from the magma from underneath pounding at that plug. And with the steam coming through that plug, with the hot steam, it's increasing the size of those holes. And at some point in time, that plug is going to burst. And there's going to be an eruption at the summit of the volcano. That's what's going on at these volcanoes. These volcanoes are steaming. These volcanoes are steaming. Now, Don Patoka is talking here in the chat. Ron reports possible impending or occurring issues and disasters as they are manifest. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not a tarot card reader. I'm not a magician. I don't know what a crystal ball would even look like. The closest thing I have is an 8-ball. This is an 8-ball that one of our viewers gave me just before Christmas this past year. Okay? Mr. Planet Prophet, we need to keep these chats informative, and you need to be talking about what we're talking about, or don't put it in the chat. What you were asking that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. I want to keep on topic here. David Catman just warned you. I took you down. I don't have a crystal ball, guys. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know when these volcanoes are going to erupt. But what I'm showing you is actual data of what's going on at these volcanoes. What's going on with these earthquakes. I'm only showing you what's happening. Okay? I'm only showing you what's going on. Now, in response to what we're talking about here with the volcanoes in the Cascade Mountain region. The Cascade Mountain region goes from up in southern Canada, British Columbia, Canada, and all the way down into northern California, where we have two other volcanoes, Mount Shasta and Mount Lassen. Mount Shasta and Lassen are also in the Cascade Mountain region. They're volcanoes. There are volcanoes over in British Columbia, Canada. That's why we also count those volcanoes as being in the Cascade Mountain region. Just below the Canadian border, we have a volcano called Mount Baker. Just south and west of there, we have another volcano called Mount Constitution. South of there, we have Glacier Peak. South of there, we have Mount Rainier. South of there, we have Mount St. Helens. South of there, we have Mount Hood. Mount Hood is not showing any signs that it is anywhere near going to erupt. But it is showing signs that Mount Hood is moving. There is signs that Mount Hood is going to have earthquakes. Mount Hood is showing signs that there is magma coming into Mount Hood, and we have had signs that Mount Hood could possibly erupt in years past. A couple years ago at Mount Hood, we had over 120 earthquakes at Mount Hood within 24 hours on a Sunday afternoon, actually. This is what's going on the south side of Mount Hood. This is Palmer Lift. Palmer Lift is a ski resort, a ski lift on the side of Mount Hood. Look at the activity here. Again, the thicker the lines, the more magma coming into the magma chamber. You can see that because we have more activity. More magma, more activity. These are tremors here. These are tremors here. These are tremors here. This appears to be a 1.7 tremor there. 1.3, 1.4 tremor there. Tremors right here. This is right here. This is 5:30 p.m. right here on the blue line. The next red line is from the next hour. This is 6 p.m. 6 p.m. is indicated by this black line here. All the black line is showing us is tremors here. I don't know why they put the red line before the black line, but this would be 6:15, and all we're showing here are tremors. Okay? Look at this. Nothing but tremors. However, we come down here. Right here, this black line would be 2100 hours, 9 p.m. 9:30 p.m. we have earthquakes. This would be 9:40 p.m. last night. 9:40 p.m. last night. Look at this. This would be indicative of a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake here. The same thing with this. 2.7, 2.8 earthquake back to back here. Tremors again. This may be right here. This is at 1:05. I'm sorry. This is after 5:15 this morning. About 5:04 or 5:19 a.m. this morning on this red line. This would be 5:15 on the red line here. So we come over here. This would be approximately 4 minutes later. So this would be 5:19 a.m. here. These are tremors. This is probably a 1.7, 1.8 tremor there. This red line here is the last red line indicating magma coming into the magma chamber. All this right here. These are the rat-a-tat-tat signals we have because men are drilling into the upper magma chambers of this volcano at Mount Hood in Oregon to obtain steam from the volcano. These are rat-a-tat-tat signals that we see when they're drilling into the upper magma chambers of a volcano to obtain steam from the volcano. That's what's going on. This is what's going on. Do you guys have any questions about Mount Hood? I'm going to show you one more diagram here. Rabbit Hole News, I'm going to answer this question. It was deleted, your question was deleted because it's not exactly what we're talking about here. The question Rabbit Hole News had was, do you recommend the LDS Preparedness Manual? The Latter-day Saint Church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the church has put out in their website an LDS Preparedness Manual, yes. You can go over to LDS.org or churchofjesuschrist.org and go over to, I don't even remember the secondary website that is a link to the LDS preparedness information. But the LDS Preparedness Manual is a very good preparedness manual. Okay? It's a very good preparedness manual. Laura Marie says Mount Hood is pretty close to where she lives. She sees it often while driving around. Laura Marie sent me pictures, and I've shown you pictures that she sent me of Mount Hood. It's a beautiful volcano. It's a beautiful mountain. Oregon is very beautiful, guys. Oregon has a lot of things to be thankful for. Miss Mo says she is right at the foot of Mount Hood. I could drive to government camp in 40 minutes or less. That's way close. That's way close. Chris Donaldson is here in the chat saying that the Earth is absorbing energy from many sources, including our sun and its flares. Absolutely is. We also are getting electromagnetic energy from planetary alignments. Yes, there are some planetary alignments happening. The planetary alignments in our solar system result in electromagnetic radiation being pointed at the Earth. This electromagnetic radiation is nothing more than that. It's radiation. That radiation goes through our magnetosphere, through our ionosphere, down to the Earth's surface, and down into the Earth's core. When the electromagnetic radiation or the plasma radiation from the sun hit the Earth's surface, it results in the tectonic plates heating up. Let me turn this camera around for a minute again. I want to show you what's going on. When that electromagnetic radiation or the plasma radiation from the sun hit the surface, it heats up the tectonic plates. The tectonic plates of the Earth are all moving all around the Earth. Every plate is moving. When the plates move, it causes earthquakes. Over here on the west side of the United States and Canada, like I'm talking about, the plates in movement or in process of movement are the Pacific Plate, the Farallon Plate, the Juan de Fuca Plate, and the Cascadia Subduction Zone, the earthquake fault. The plates are moving, and when the plates that heats up, the radiation heats up the gunk and grime that are holding the plates together. All the biological material, the dirt, the sand, the rock, they're holding the plate in place. When that heats up, it turns into an oily, greasy-like substance and allows the plates to move more freely, and that's when we have an earthquake. Okay? That's when we have an earthquake. Total Vagabonds is here. Total Vagabonds, it's so great to see you from the Emerald Isles of British, from the British Isles. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. We missed you. I've missed you. Thank you so much for being here. God bless you, man. Total Vagabonds is a good friend of mine from way back when. He's been with me from nearly the beginning when we first came on the air over 5 years ago. It's been 5.5 years since we've been on the air. Isn't that something? Almost 5.5 years. Total Vagabonds, it's such a pleasure to see you. Deborah Reese is saying it heats up the plates. Yes, the tectonic plates. The Pacific Plate, the North American plate that you are sitting on, or that you may be sitting on. I don't know where you live, Deborah. If you live here in the United States or Canada, you're sitting right on top of the North American plate. The Pacific Plate is going directly underneath the North American plate, and it's taking a deep dive into the center of the Earth like this. And when all that gunk and grime, that biological material heats up with the solar energy or the electromagnetic radiation, it heats up and allows the plates to move, and that's when we have earthquakes. Okay? SunGator says the past 5 years have been a blur. I agree. I honestly, guys, I'm being honest with you. 5.5 years ago, I would not have said I'll be here in 5 years. I was hoping. I was definitely hoping. But I didn't know I'd be here now. We're still here. More and more people are watching us. At one point before I had to start this channel, I had over 25,000 subscribers on my last channel when YouTube took it down. Now I have over 5,000 more. Imagine if they hadn't taken that channel down, I'd have over 30,000 subscribers now. Okay? It's great to see you all here. Catherine Sigerson's been here through thick and thin with me as well. Thank you for being here, Catherine. We appreciate it. Yes, thank God we're all here. SunGator says we've been praying for you. I appreciate those prayers. Yes, Richard says we hope you're here in 10 years. I hope I am too. I hope I am too. I'm praying for that day. I want to be here with you. I want to be here with my grandchildren, great-grandchildren. I want to be here with everyone. I love life. I do love life. that I want to see what happens when these volcanoes go. Sun Gator says she remembers when I had 200,000 views or something like that. Folks, I had like 10,000 views. I had 10,000 views when we were having earthquakes and volcanic eruptions in the Canary Islands. 10,000 views when I had that happening. It's incredible when we were seeing that happen. And I was the first citizen scientist reporting on the Canary Island eruption. Cumbre Vieja volcano on the Canary Island of La Palma Island. At that time, I was reporting what the scientists were telling me. Every day I was talking with scientists over on La Palma Island in the Canary Islands. I was talking to citizens. I talked to the mayor of Canary Islands. I talked to the governor of the Canary Islands from Spain. It was amazing. I talked to scientists every day. It was awesome. And I was reporting all that information back to you every evening. It was such a great experience. Tammy Steffi says she hopes none of these volcanoes go off soon. I hope not. I don't want to see anybody hurt. I don't want to see anybody hurt. The problem is, with all this activity, there is a very good chance that these volcanoes are going to erupt. Now we have NCWQ Worldwide News and Disaster Explorer here. Rebecca, she is a very good friend of mine. Rebecca has been a very good friend of mine. Her and Bella Virgo have been very good friends of mine from the very beginning that I've been here on the air. I'm here for you. I'm here for all of you. Now, Sungazer said something about Mount Hood being over near government camp. Well, guess what? I have the seismogram from Timberline, which is government camp. Let me show you that seismogram right now. Oh, darn it. That's not the one. Let me go back here, right here. I don't know how that happened. This is Timberline seismogram here. This is at Mount Hood. This is the south lower side of Mount Hood. It's at the Timberline seismograph is at government camp. Look at the earthquakes we're having here. These are all minor earthquakes here. Okay? This is like a 2.6, 2.7 earthquake here. All this seismic activity are minor earthquakes. These are tremors here. All this is tremors here. This is like a 2.6, 2.7 minor earthquake here. This is a 2.0 earthquake here. All the rest of this is all tremors. Right here. Again, this is like a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake sequence here. Look at all this magma. Anytime we have larger earthquakes, it's because more and more magma coming into the magma chamber. That's the same thing here. The thicker the lines, it's indicative of more and more magma coming into the magma chamber of the volcano. That's what's going on. Every earthquake, every tremor that we have magma coming into the magma chamber. All of this are tremors here. This is a 2.0 earthquake here and tremors here. This is a 2.2 minor earthquake here. Over here is tremors. These are all tremors. This is a lot of magma coming into the magma chamber here. This is called magma pulse signals. Magma pulse signals. Anytime the magma is coming into the magma chamber, it may come in very thin, very little magma, and the size of the line or the more magma coming into the magma chamber will show a thicker line. Thinner line to to thicker lines to thinner lines is called magma pulse signals. That's what we're seeing here on this Timberline seismogram. Okay, this is very evident what's going on here at Mount Hood. Now, when when the scientists saw 125 earthquakes in 24 hours at Mount Hood, it was here at Timberline. It was here at Timberline. Scientists at Mount Hood in the National Forest there issued a volcanic eruption advisory, a yellow advisory saying that Mount Hood looked like it might be going to erupt. It didn't happen. 24 hours later, the earthquake subsided. And you still see earthquakes happening at Mount Hood. There is still magma coming into Mount Hood. You can see it here. You can see it here on the seismographs. You can see the earthquakes and tremors happening because of the magma coming into the magma chamber. That's what's happening. Okay? It's still going on. It's going to happen whether we are ready for it or not. Okay? We're talking about the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network here. We're talking about the Pacific Northwest and what's happening at Cascadia. I've shown you some of the volcanoes. I thought I had sisters here. Let me check something really quick. Like I said, I thought I had Sisters Volcano here. Maybe not. Okay, before I show you any more seismograms, I want to show you the tremor map. The tremor map is also published by the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. Look at all these tremors over in the center part of Vancouver Island. The center part of Vancouver Island. Look at all these tremors in southern Oregon. Just north of Medford, Oregon, north and west of Medford, Oregon. Look at all this. Yesterday they were also over here in the central part right here. Right here in Washington. Folks, there still are tremors happening here. Again, the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network is not completely telling the truth. They don't want people to understand what is really going on. They publish that map in hopes that people will understand, yes, there are earthquakes. Yes, there are small tremors. But they don't want anybody to know exactly what's going on. Tonight, I want to show you all up and down the coast of Washington. We still have more tremors. And they are not being honest about any of them. They don't want us to know what's happening. They have, in fact, in the past, falsified data. This is Fildago Island. Look at the tremors here. There are over 100 tremors on this particular seismogram. Over 100 tremors on this particular seismogram. The most tremors here are after 5 a.m. here. Between 5 a.m. and 1:15 p.m. here. That's when I had to pull this seismogram to show you here on the show. Look at all these tremors. Fildago Island, Washington. Over 100 tremors right here. Okay? Let's show you Grays Harbor, Washington. I want you to see this. We don't just have tremors. Yes, we're seeing more tremors on this seismogram here, but we're also showing earthquakes. This is a tremor here. This is an earthquake here. This is a 2.6, 2.7 earthquake, and a tremor here. This is a 2.8 earthquake here. More tremors here. You can see that. Tremors here. Again, look at the thicker lines here. Thicker lines are indicative of magma coming in from the ocean and going into land here in Washington. Again, magma coming in. This is 2:30 in the morning on this blue line here. We have tremors here, we have tremors here, and we actually have a 2.6 earthquake here. Again, this is not being shown on the USGS map. Heaven forbid they let us know what's happening. All the rest of these tremors are here. These are tiny tremors here. Okay? Let me show you another one. Let me show you Loomy Island. Loomy Island, Washington. Look at this. It's not just tremors, it's earthquakes as well. Loomy Island, northwestern Washington. This appears to be a 2.3 earthquake here. 2.0 earthquake here as resultant aftershocks, tremors here. Over here, the top of this earthquake here goes off onto the other seismogram before it. This appears to be at least a 2.5, 2.6 earthquake here with aftershocks. Probably a 2.0 earthquake afterwards and also tremors. That happens. You see tremors here. This appears right here to be a 2.0 earthquake, and two of them, back to back here. Another tremor here. More tremors here. This is 11 p.m. here on this black line. More earthquakes here. A lot more earthquakes. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 earthquakes here. This is after 8 a.m. here. 8 earthquakes here today. 4 earthquakes here last night. 12 total earthquakes here on this seismogram. Loomy Island, Washington. Again, these are not on the map. Why not? Why not? This is Pacific County, Washington here. Pacific County, Washington. Yes, we see tremors here, but we're also seeing earthquakes. Okay? Right here. 1, that's an earthquake. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. This is an earthquake here. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 tremors. 27 tremors and 2 earthquakes. Pacific County, Washington. They're not on the map. Why not? Orcas Island, Washington. Orcas Island, Washington. This is at the airport on Olga Island, Orcas, Washington. Here's an earthquake here. This is probably a 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. The top of it would be on the other seismogram before this. Here's an earthquake here, a 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. This is a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. 3 earthquakes here. We see thicker lines here and thinner lines. Again, this is magma coming into land here from the Pacific going towards the volcano. More magma, less magma. Magma pulse signals. Okay? Down here, here's another 2.6, 2.8 earthquake here. 2.6, 2.7 earthquake here. Tremors. This is another 2.5, 2.6 earthquake here. This is a 2.0. This is a 1.8, 1.9 tremor here. Tremors and earthquakes. These earthquakes and tremors are not listed on the USGS map. They're not. This is another seismogram from Orcas Island. Look at this. Look at all these earthquakes here. Again, this is in northwestern Washington, along the coast. Along the coast, guys. USGS is still not being honest at all. There are about 30 earthquakes here on this particular seismograph. These are over on the coastline. Why are they not being talked about? They're not talking about them at all. They're not showing them to us. What's the problem with that? Hyperbolic media says oddly coordinated pulses they seem. No, these are not pulses. These are earthquakes. These are earthquakes. Orcas Island, Washington. Let me go over here now to Skagit County Fire, Burlington, Washington. Look at this. Look at all these tremors here. Why are they not being shown on the map? Or at least accounted for? There probably are over 100 tremors here. There probably are over 100 tremors and a handful of minor earthquakes. 2.0, 2.4 earthquakes. These are all tremors. Okay? They're not even being shown on the map. Let me go over to another one. This is the Tioga Law Enforcement Unit for the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. Look at these. Again, over 100 events. These are over 100 events that have happened as a result of magma and earthquake activity. This is along the coastline of Washington State. Incredible. Jazzers is asking Cascadia subduction, yes. Absolutely Cascadia subduction. Okay? That was a good question. Now let me turn this camera around so we can talk about this. Okay? Again, the Juan de Fuca plate here in Washington State. The Juan de Fuca plate is subducting underneath the North American plate. The Pacific plate on the other side of it is also, on the west of that, is also subducting underneath the North American plate. Multiple plates taking a deep dive underneath the North American plate. Washington, Oregon, California, Western Canada. Cascadia subduction. Now, let me pull up. Let me go over here. I want to pull up the map. My Cascadia subduction map. I want to show you what's happening. Okay? I've typically showed this map many times during the past 5.5 years. I've shown it many times. Now, give me a second, I'll pull it up here. Oh, where am I at? I have a great many maps over the years that I put together for everybody. Now I just have to find the right map to show you, because I want to make sure you can understand what is happening. I show you a lot of maps every day that we're on the air. Okay, I've got the map here. This is the Cascadia subduction zone, guys. Right there. Okay? Right here. This is a Strait of Juan de Fuca. This is water coming in off the Pacific Ocean here. The Strait of Juan de Fuca coming into Washington State and also into Vancouver, Canada. Okay? This is the Puget Sound area here. We've talked about earthquakes tonight along the coastline of Washington, mostly Washington right here. Okay? Earthquakes are a result of the Cascadia subduction zone. The plate going up underneath the North American plate. Some of the earthquakes that we have are a little further inland. Those especially are a result of the plate going up underneath the North American plate. All of the earthquakes we've shown you here, including the tremor map here, was just over here on Vancouver Island and further south here near Medford, Medford, Oregon. They're the only ones showing. Why are they not showing tremors all up and down the coast? Because they don't want anybody to know what's going on. They don't want anybody to see all the earthquakes that are happening. The day before yesterday, I talked about a place called Ocean Shores, Washington. Ocean Shores, Washington. Our friend Marf Fugel, about 3 years ago, traveled over here, actually more than that, 4 years ago, traveled over here to Ocean Shores, Washington. He talked to the citizens. He talked to first responders, the police, and also the fire department and paramedics. Nobody, not one of them, knew anything about the Cascadia megathrust earthquake. None of them knew about the earthquakes that were going on. Marfugel and I have been friends for a long time. Marfugel interviewed me on his channel. Marfugel interviewed me on his channel. I showed him earthquakes. I sent him a lot of data. I emailed him a lot of data. He is very familiar with the Cascadia subduction zone because of that. Stuff is happening. Earthquakes are continuing to hit here. Earthquakes are continuing to hit here. Now, 4.5 years ago, 4.5 years ago, we had 4 7.0 earthquakes hit right here. 4 7.0 earthquakes hit here on Christmas Eve 4 years ago. One of my friends and I, who I'm not going to name anymore, but he and I were on the phone together. We were praying that this would not trigger the Cascadia subduction zone earthquake. 4 major 7.0 earthquakes hit right here, just off the northwest coast of Vancouver Island. It could have triggered the Cascadia subduction zone and the earthquake to follow. It did not. It did not trigger it. I'm so thankful because I honestly, not just me, but many other people that we told this story to, were praying that it would not trigger the Cascadia subduction zone and the earthquake. Heaven forbid it would happen on Christmas Eve. Heaven forbid it would happen on Christmas Eve. It did not do that. We are still awaiting the Cascadia subduction zone earthquake. A 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that would happen right about here. Right about here. Just off the coast of Washington, right here. That earthquake would be felt all the way up into Alaska, all the way up into Alaska, and all the way down the coast of California to northern Mexico. Why? Because the Cascadia subduction zone here would trigger the San Andreas Fault earthquake down here in northern California. The San Andreas Fault is right here, northern California. Right here. We have an earthquake fault that leaves the state of California and goes out to sea here. Okay? That and the Cascadia subduction zone earthquake fault and the San Andreas Fault right here that goes down through all of California, and as a result, the Cascadia subduction zone triggers the San Andreas Fault, and that fault being triggered all the way down through California, all the way down into northern Mexico. A 9.0, 10.0 earthquake all up and down the coast of North America. All up and down the western coast of North America. But the problem is, it's not just here. Yes, there would be major destruction up and down the coast, all the way up into Alaska. All up and down the coast of Canada. Washington, Oregon, and all the way down into northern Mexico. Okay? Yes, it's going to happen. It is going to happen. But the problem is, it's also going to be felt across all of Canada, all of North America, including the United States, all the way over to the East Coast. All the way across to the East Coast. It's going to happen. It is going to happen. Are we waiting for it? Yes. We are waiting for it. It will happen. Again, the USGS is not showing hardly any earthquakes. Right here. This is a 1.4 tremor. They're calling this an explosion. They're calling this earthquake an explosion. It is a tremor. It is a 1.4 tremor here. Let me show you this. This is nowhere near a quarry blast. There is no way it could be anywhere near a quarry. Guess what? It's right next to a river. Most rivers are also earthquake faults. Actually, this is not a 1.4, it's a 1.5. A 1.5 tremor. It has nothing to do with an explosion. There's been no explosion recorded here in Washington State today. 4 kilometers north of Chehalis Village, Washington State. There was no explosion. This was a tremor. Demon Catman says spontaneous combustion carnivorous, an exploding tree. Yes, we laughingly call it that. We laughingly call it that because USBS has nothing better to do than declare an explosion where there's no explosion. There's another one right here. This is along the coast of Washington again. Okay? This is a 2.0 earthquake, not an explosion. This is a 2.0 earthquake. Again, they say this is 4 kilometers west-southwest Let's not let me show you this. That's sad. Not letting, this is Wayland, Washington. Let me enlarge this for you. This is out in the water. This is out in the water here, guys. Look at that. This is a tributary from a river going out to the sea. This is not an explosion. They would not set off an explosion in a body of water. This is a 2.0 earthquake near Wheeler, Washington. Okay? These are not explosions. USGS, unfortunately, lies to the public. They lie and hide the information. They lie and hide the information. They do it on a frequent basis. They do it all the time. Again, the Cascadia megathrust earthquake is going to start right here off the coast of northern Washington, right here. It's going to be felt across the entire United States and Canada, all the way out here to the East Coast. Yes, at some point in time, with the strength of this 9.0, 10.0 earthquake, the seismic signals will gradually deviate from what they were over here on the West Coast. They will get smaller. But by the time they hit the East Coast, I have to believe, because of what we see, that this is going to result in large earthquakes hitting here on the East Coast. 5.0 earthquakes hitting up and down the East Coast after this 10.0 earthquake hits here. Okay? That's what we believe is going to happen. Now, I want to show you one more thing. We see a lot of earthquakes here in Southern California. Yes, today we had another 3.0 in Southern California. I want to show you that in a minute. But right here. This is about the stupidest thing that I can even see. It's about the stupidest thing I can see. This is a 2.5 earthquake, North Carolina. 2.5 earthquake in Sparta, North Carolina. Incredible. Incredible. Anyway, let me turn this camera back. I don't know why it's not going back. There it is. I didn't touch it right. I want to show you this earthquake. It's important. And then I'll show you the earthquake in California. I try to show you this information because it affects all of us. It affects all of us. Richard Smith says, would a Cascadia movement happen all at once? Yes. It absolutely would happen all at once. It's not going to happen over a long period of time. It's going to happen boom. And it's continue shaking for quite some time. There will probably be about 5 to 10 minutes worth of shaking. But the shaking will be felt all up and down the coastline. The shaking will also gradually work its way across the whole continental United States and Canada. Anyway, apparently the EMSC has removed the Sparta, North Carolina earthquake. However, they are showing an earthquake over in Rutledge, Tennessee. This is a 2.3 earthquake in Rutledge, Tennessee. Okay? They're showing that 2.43 in Rutledge, Tennessee. They're not showing that 2.0 over in Sparta, North Carolina. Now, I want to show you this earthquake because I think it's very important. They downgraded this. This came out this morning as a 3.0 earthquake. 3.0 earthquake near Devore, California. They downgraded it to a 2.86. a 2.86 earthquake. It was at least a 3.0. I pulled all the data about this earthquake. There is nothing as a 2.86. It was at least a 3.0 earthquake near Devore, California. Now, Devore, California is where the earthquake hit. I want to show you something else. Down here is Fontana, California. Remember earlier this week, I showed you the seismogram from Fontana, California? We show you 2.5 to 3.0 earthquakes hitting in Fontana. Yes, the earthquakes are hitting in Fontana as well. This whole area is literally on earthquake fire. This area here is being inundated with earthquakes. They're not showing here because heaven forbid they talk to us about it. Heaven forbid they talk about it. Here is Loma Linda. Here is Loma Linda over near Mariloma. Oh, darn it. Here's Loma Linda. This is a 1.31 tremor. Loma Linda. Now this is southern Loma Linda. The medical center in Loma Linda, the medical center at Loma Linda is right here. This is the world-renowned Loma Linda Medical Center here. This is just south and west of Loma Linda. Or south and west of Loma Linda Medical Center. Okay? Seismic energy is happening. And what they're not showing you is when I showed you the seismogram coming from Mariloma, just south of Loma Linda, there were more than just 1.31 tremors. There were 2.0, 2.5, and 3.0 earthquakes in Mariloma. And probably also at Loma Linda. Okay? That's what's happening. And it continues to happen. Trabuco Canyon, California, also part of Los Angeles. This is a 0.77 microquake. Trabuco Canyon over in Los Angeles. It's happening. That whole area is on fire with earthquakes. Next week I'm going to show you more earthquakes. Next week I'm going to show you a lot more earthquakes. A lot more. I want you to be aware of it. Los Angeles is getting nailed. Here's another 1.65 over in Carson, California. Carson, California. Usually we have a lot of swarms of earthquakes here in Carson, California, right there. Okay? It happens. Castaic, California. Here's a 1.36 there. Earthquakes are hitting Southern California like never before. And they are not showing everything. They are absolutely not showing everything. Okay? Look at the earthquakes here in San Diego County. 20 plus earthquakes here in San Diego County and over here in the Imperial Valley. Like I said, it's on earthquake fire. Things are happening. They're happening all over the place. Do we know what's going to happen? Yeah, we do. Do we know when it's going to happen? No, we don't. Now, Sungazer says her vibe is to leave just where? I'm not asking anybody to leave. I will never ask you to leave where you're at. But what I am asking is for you to be prepared. We talked about fires in Southern California. Fires in New Mexico, they're still going. They're definitely still going. I'm not asking you to leave unless there's going to be an evacuation. If there's going to be an evacuation, I want you to get the heck out of Dodge. I do not want you to waste a second. I don't want you to waste even a second. If there's going to be an evacuation, I want you to get out of Dodge. Plain and simple. Now there's two other things I want to talk about here. I'm going over here to the USGS map again. Right here. Okay? This is an earthquake down in Vanuatu today. It's the largest earthquake here in the world here. Okay? A good-sized earthquake. A very good-sized earthquake. Okay? This is a 5.3 earthquake down here in Levuka, Fiji. Okay? A 5.3 earthquake here. Now, the other thing that's going on here, I'm first going to take you down here into the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean Sea. Right here. Actually, it's down here. We've had a tropical storm here. Tropical Storm Alberto. Tropical Storm Alberto has created havoc here in Honduras and over here where Larry Smith used to live. It's created a lot of havoc. A lot of rain and flooding. 4 inches of rain have fallen here in the Yucatan of Mexico. 4 inches of rain. Tons of flooding. There has been some loss of life from what I've been told. This tropical storm is going to make its way here into the Gulf of Mexico by tomorrow. The eastern coast of Mexico right here is going to be inundated with up to 2 to 4 inches of rain within 24 hours. The southern tip of Texas right here is also going to be hit. You guys in Texas need to get prepared because this is going to start hitting you tomorrow to tomorrow night. Tomorrow to tomorrow night. Mexico into Texas is going to be hit by Alberto. This is the first tropical storm of the season. Now, what else is going on? Off the coast of Florida here, out here in the Bermuda area, we have another tropical storm here. Tomorrow, possibly, we may see storm over here, storm signals here off the eastern coast of Florida. There's going to be some more heavy rain. This is going to be just less than a tropical storm. You guys in Florida need to batten down the hatches. NCWQ says the one is 40% now expected to be tropical soon. This is going to be a tropical storm very soon. Possibly not by the time it hits Florida here, but it could. You guys need to batten down the hatches here. I put out the warnings now. We first started talking about this Monday this week when the National Weather Service first issued the watches. Now we're warning you what's going to happen. Florida during the last 2 weeks, has gotten heavily hit with storms here. Storms, flooding, and people have died as a result of it. We want to warn you about it tonight because it's going to happen. And there's a good possibility that you can be saved from what is going to happen if you're paying attention and you prepare. That's why we put the information out to you. We want you to be prepared for what happens. Does anyone have any questions here? Does anyone have any questions about anything we told you? What's Great Outdoors is asking, what direction is it moving across Florida? It's moving east to west. It's moving east to west. East from Bermuda, or west from Bermuda over into the Florida Panhandle. I don't know why my map is playing games here. Hey, I got my map back. How about that? It's moving east to west across Florida. What's Great Outdoors says Sarasota is possibly going to be hit. You're right. The whole east coast here of Florida could be affected. The whole east coast of Florida could be affected, and all the way across Florida by Sunday. Probably no later than Sunday here. Does anybody have any questions for me? I know I talked about a lot of things tonight. I talked about a lot. And I know I may have confused some of you. I hope not. That was not my intention. My intention is to pass on information that you're going to need. That's what we've done. Thank you, Rebecca. She sent me a list of North Carolina earthquakes, or a link anyway. Thank you so much. Songstress Griffin is asking, would it affect me? I'm in Fort Myers. Probably. You're over on the western side of Florida. As that storm moves westward, it's going to go over land, and it's probably going to hit you with less rain and wind than it would be if you were on the East Coast. By the time it crosses the entire state of Florida, it will calm down. But you're still going to get a massive amount of rain. And as this storm moves across, it's going to do this. It's going to pick up more rain once it gets back over the waters of the Gulf of Mexico. And it could also possibly head for Louisiana, Arkansas, or Texas. Once it passes over Florida, it could wind back up into the Gulf of Mexico as it hits warmer waters in the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, guys, as I have always done at the end of my broadcasts, I want to thank you all for being here. We've gone from 106 people watching our program to 99. I will be back on the air tomorrow evening. If anything else major happens, I will be back on the air tonight to give more information to you about what's happening as soon as the information presents itself. Right now, I'm going to talk about God. As we normally do at this time of night, we talk about, I give you a devotional, talking about the spiritual side of our lives. Tonight, I'm going over into Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 26. It says, in the fear of the Lord, there is strong confidence, and his children will have a place of refuge. He's talking about all of us. Brian, it doesn't matter what church I go to, I am a Christian. Okay? It has no difference what church I go to. I am a Christian man. I teach Sunday school. I've been teaching Sunday school for many, many years. The word refuge there in the Psalm, in the Proverbs, the word refuge occurs 20 times in the Old Testament. It is defined as a shelter or protection, a fortress, a place of trust, a shelter from the storm. The writers of the scriptures often use the image of God as being their refuge. The eternal God is your refuge, Deuteronomy 33:27. The eternal God is your refuge, Deuteronomy 33:27. Promised Moses. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Psalms 46, verse 1. And the prophet Isaiah described God as being a refuge from the storm in Isaiah chapter 25, verse 4. Godly families of today are not immune to the storms of life. We've all seen that. Godly families of today are not immune to the storms of life, which seem to move in frequently, often without warning. The present storm that we are in may be sickness, heartache caused by a wayward child, a financial setback, death of a friend, a broken relationship, or politics caused by ungodly people. We have plenty of that, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow night. Like the faithful of long ago, we must pass on to our children our confidence in the Lord, so they will be able to weather the storms of life after they leave the shelter of our home. We must prepare our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren for what is going to happen in their life. We must prepare and pass on to our children our confidence and testimonies in the Lord Jesus Christ, so that our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren can weather the storms of their lives after they leave our home. That's exactly what my parents did with me. That is exactly what I've done with my children. I passed on my testimony of Jesus Christ to my own children. That is what we need to do now. Pass on our testimonies of our Savior and our God in heaven. Brothers and sisters, I tell you this every day. I tell you this many times on Sundays. I have a testimony of Jesus Christ. I know He is our Savior. He is our King, our Deliverer. He is our Redeemer. I have a testimony of God the Father and His Son, Jesus Christ. I'm testifying to you of that. I am passing on my knowledge and my testimony to you. I'm only asking you now to pass that on to your children and your family. May God bless you to that end. May we strengthen our families so they will be strong enough to weather the storms that are going on. This is absolutely mandatory. I don't want my children wandering off out into society with what's going on, without putting on the full armor of God. I'm asking you all to do the same. Put on the full armor of God. Develop a testimony of our Savior. Stand strong. Stand strong. If you belong to a church, make sure you're strong. Make sure you pass on your testimonies to other people that are around you. If you want more information about what I do and what I believe, email me. I will be happy to talk with you. I've been teaching the gospel of Jesus Christ since I was a teenager. I served a mission for my church in 1975 to 1977, just under 2.5 years. I've been teaching Sunday school since then. I've been a missionary since then as well. I've taught the gospel in Mexico. I've taught the gospel to people I met in Canada. I still speak to people in Sweden. I love my ancestors from Sweden and Norway. I still speak fluent Swedish as a result of that, as a result of my relationship with the people in Scandinavia. I speak English to all of you. I preach the gospel to all of you and your families because I love Jesus Christ. I love our Savior. Please, folks, share this information with your families. They need that. They need that. Brothers and sisters, I love you. I love you. Please love your children. Don't let a day go by without telling each member of your family that you love them. Tomorrow's not given. Please pass that on as well. Folks, also please subscribe to this channel. 25% or 26% of the people that watch this channel are not subscribed. Please subscribe to this channel. When you do, also click on that little notification bell right next to the subscribe button. Click on that notification bell and click on the word ALL. That will pop up. That way you'll get notified when we come on the air. And folks, if you want to help support this channel, you can also join this channel as a member of our EMA family. Membership in this EMA family. As soon as I get this computer up to snuff, I will be holding members-only telecasts. I'll be talking with each individual person during our telecast. I'll be answering questions. I'll be sharing my experience with you. I look forward to that. But right now we need your support. You can also support us by mailing us letters and cards to our post office box. P.O. Box 104, the address is 104 North Green Street, Box 105. 104 North Green Street, Box 105, here in Morganton, North Carolina. The zip code here is 28655. You can also support us through our PayPal and our Cash App. We have 2 PayPal locations and a Cash App. Please, folks, help us. We need to keep this program on the air, and things get more and more expensive as the days go on. I thank you for your patronage here. I thank you for your love, your kindness, and being a family of mine. You are my family. All of you are very important to me. I love you very much, like I said. That love will never end. God be with you. God be with you this day and always. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Have a great night, folks. God bless you.